Good morning, ladies. It's Kristen from naturalbirthandbabycare.com, and I was just walking and started thinking, and I guess I have kind of a rant that I wanted to share with you. So I've been thinking about this whole thing about pregnancy and birth, and it becomes very polarized. There's even mommy wars and stuff going on, and what we have is we have all of this focus on the pregnancy, the birth, and the baby, and it's like the baby is kind of the end product, and sometimes we think about, oh my goodness, we want to have a good birth too, but it kind of stops there, or it's minimized even. And what happens is everything focuses on the baby. Oh, you have a healthy baby. You should be glad that you have a healthy baby. You found the end result of the manufacturing process. That was the baby. So sit down and shut up. But the thing is, the reason why birth matters is not because of the birth experience in and of itself per se, or the pregnancy matters is not because of the pregnancy in and of itself per se. So we have these experiences and they lead to a healthy baby, and that's a wonderful thing. We all want to have a healthy baby, and that's a good thing. And our children come through us and not for us, and that's a good thing. But what we do is we do this huge disservice to moms, because the reason why I feel so passionately about pregnancy and childbirth is not necessarily because I think that a natural birth is like this holy grail of an experience in a woman's life, right? The thing is that pregnancy and birth shape you profoundly. I always joke, you may have even heard me say this before, I always joke about how guys, they hold nothing to us, right? Some guy can go on the top of a mountain and go on some retreat, or some guy can, become like a super wealthy millionaire or somebody and, do all this stuff and achieve all this level of success. But the growth that he experiences, or that he has to go onto that mountain, to try and find, it's really nothing compared to the journey that we as women can have, or rather, we don't have to go to mountaintops to find it, right? Motherhood is a big journey for us. It's a huge thing. And so when we think about pregnancy and birth, minimizing the impact of pregnancy and birth on a woman's life and who she is and who you are is really a disservice to you. So, it's a lot more than just a process to have a baby so that you can dress that baby in baby clothes and drive that baby around in a cool looking stroller and have tea parties and all that sort of stuff. It's a wonderful thing. And we all look towards, the things that our child will be able to do and the value that their life holds simply because of that. But you are still an important person, and there's still growth that happens in that. So when we think about, say, a company CEO or, that religious guru on the mountaintop, we think that their journey and who they become is valid and important. And yet somehow when you're a mother, that really gets very minimized. Like, is that journey not important? It's supposed to be all about the baby, and you're supposed to kind of sacrifice. Maybe that's the thing, like you're supposed to sacrifice everything for this baby. And as a mother to 8 children, I can tell you that I would be willing to die for my children. I would stand and fight for my children and my family, and I have done that. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that I am. Like, I'm not just a vehicle to get my children to the age of 18. There's more to me than that, and I have more to offer the world. For one thing, I'm here for you. I'm here serving you. I feel really passionately about serving mothers and babies. That's why I've been serving mothers and babies for almost 16 years now. So that's part of who I am, and there's more to my life than that as well. There's other roles that I play as a wife and a daughter and a sister, and all those things that I do. And so motherhood is a vehicle towards our growth, but before that, it's part of the journey to who we are, and it's also a radical redefinition of who we are. And when we take and look at pregnancy and childbirth, they're literally the initiation into that radical transformation, that radical redefinition of who you are. You're not necessarily going to lose who you were before, but you are being redefined. You're being made more complex, so to speak. So there are more layers that are being added to you. The fabric of the tapestry that is you is growing and changing and becoming different. And when we initiate women into motherhood and into this change in a way that is disempowering and that is condescending, it does a huge disservice to women. So when somebody says that pregnancy and birth don't matter because the only result is a healthy baby, they're reducing the entirety of this journey to just you get the baby at the end. And so either it's all about the healthy baby and like who that baby will become, or it's all about, just you have this designer baby, like so you can be on Celebrity Baby Blog and have your little designer baby so that you look like the people on Hollywood. It's just silly. And it totally forgets that there's a mother and a mother who needs to grow and change. So when you have an empowering pregnancy and when you have an awesome birth experience, even a sacred birth experience, that sets you up for that transition to where you go into motherhood with this level of confidence and with this level of belief in yourself, and you pull on strength that you maybe didn't even realize that you had, because man, girl, it pulls a lot out of you to be pregnant and to have a baby. It's just a lot. And so it may pull on you and give you a new strength that you didn't realize was there. And that's valuable. And when we honor the depth of this experience, and when we honor how important it is, and when we say it is important to treat women, it is important to treat a woman like she matters. It's important to treat her like an intelligent woman. So, when you think about it, I matter. My opinions and thoughts matter. If I feel like there's something not quite right about this situation and I talk to my care provider about it and they take me seriously, then I know that I matter. My voice matters. They're not treating me like a stupid child. They're not treating me like a baby. Instead, they're talking with me and dialoguing me about why they feel that such and such is important that I may not necessarily feel is a good idea. They're giving me the options. They're letting me make the call. It's more of a consultant relationship. Then you feel more confident and you grow in yourself. And when you have a care provider or somebody like me who works with women who says, let me hear your stories. Let me hear what's going on in you. Oh, you feel this or that. That's a valid way to feel. And you have questions about this. You're not sure what to do. What does your heart tell you? I can give you information. I can share my experiences and my story with you. But then I can tell you, take those things and let them be part of your information, but then you make the call. Then you're empowered to go forward. You're empowered to go forward because you're the one who's going to be mothering this child. You're the one who's going to raise this child to 18 or 21 or whenever they fly the nest. And then you're the one who's going to be there, left. Hopefully a grandmother, if that's in your dreams, but a stronger woman, a woman who is strong enough to bring forth her baby, and then a woman who is strong enough to raise that child through all the ups and downs of parenting, and then a woman who is stronger and more compassionate and who has a stronger voice and who has taught her daughters to have a stronger voice, who has taught her sons to have compassion. That is a powerful thing. And when you have a pregnancy and birth experience that help you to honor that voice, to start listening to your heart, to start pulling on your instinct, to start believing in yourself, well, of course, the ecstasy of that birth moment is wonderful when you're holding your baby and you're the person who's in one of those pictures where that woman is, she's so joyful holding her baby. She looks so triumphant and ecstatic. You have that moment. That moment is really most women's birthright. It's every woman's birthright. Even a woman who needs assistance should be given that moment, and we could do a lot more to get you there. But when you've carefully prepared and when you've been listened to and when you've been heard, and when you're able to do that, don't you think that serves your baby? Doesn't that mother with that strength, with that confidence, with that joy, with that power, that's a woman who's going to make a difference in the world. That's a woman who's going to make the world a better place. Not just for her child, but for everybody. That is the legacy of motherhood. It helps create in us stronger people. It helps make you a stronger woman. And that is worthwhile. So to say, oh, pregnancy and birth, you got a healthy baby, get over it, honey. That's disservice to women. Even if you have a difficult birth, you have the right to grieve And you have the right to have somebody hold the space where you find the strength in that so that you too can go forward, because birth is not the end of the road, ladies. It's part of the journey. And I want that to be an empowering and ecstatic part of the journey. And I want to hold the space for you while you process that. But most of all, I want you to know that you have the right to believe that it's important, that you have the right to stand up and say what you want, that you have the right to say that this beautiful birth experience is important to me, this is part of my journey, this is a step on my journey, and that this is a step for me finding my mama bear's strength. And then you get to take that strength and some of the humility that comes along with it, and that becomes strength and power and compassion that blesses our world. So I was just thinking about that, ladies. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you soon.